no one would show up. It's a Comic-Con, and you were in Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. It's pretty hard to not have people show up, Lea.
Howard the Duck.
And a genuine badass in Red Dawn. 3D gimmick in the older 3D movies. Now it's very immersive, the new 3D. The old days it was like, you know, look, here, a pen.
It was my first movie, so I had to break myself of some bad habits because I'd be like, hi. How are you?
That was your first movie?
Yeah, it didn't really work out for the second
No, I would say it worked out. Yeah. That's pretty...
I knew I was in for a wild ride.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Well, of course, Back to the Future, we're looking at the, what is it, 30-year anniversary. And
it's so okay to turn 30 again. It's
right, to turn 30, of course.
I'm not embarrassed at all.
And it just seemed like people were waiting for 2015.
Yeah.
Just based on Back to the Future alone to see. Like, we wanted to compare.
Still no damn hoverboards.
No hoverboard. No flying cars.
There are hoverboards, you just don't believe enough when you're on them.
Maybe you're just trying it over water.
Yeah.
And of course, over water, you need power.
I don't believe
I did see someone who made a snowboard out of a hoverboard. That was pretty cool. I mean, that might be the way to do it.
That is pretty cool, a way to do it. But everybody was waiting for this 2015, where we're finally here. And what's your kind of view of the Back to the Future version of 2015?
Well, I really think that they were trying to do not a real view. It was a comedy view, you know, right. The costumes and the flying cars and all that. I mean, it was just a way for Bob Zemeckis to kind of entertain himself and make the jokes work better.
Yeah.
So, but he got a couple things right. But you know,
he actually did get a couple of things right. 3D, you know, the Jaws marquee coming out, something like that in 3D. But the thing I find most incredible is everybody involved with the movie looks so much better in real life than they made them up to look in 2015.
Yeah.
Everyone looked awful.
And it was really funny because they would make such jokes. They'd be like, "Oh, you're so old. You're 47. Look how old and horrible you look." And I was like, "Oh, really? Aren't you like 46? Calm down." But yeah, the makeup is always hard, and no one will ever get it perfectly right. But I've seen the movie on a big screen, and there's really only one really bad shot of the makeup.
Is there? Which?
Well, I just saw it at the Hollywood Bowl in California with the orchestra playing. They're doing that all over the world.
That's amazing,
They pull the music out, and they wrote new cues because the first 20 minutes of Back to the Future has no orchestra in it. And so they wrote new cues, and I got a few of them, which really helped my performance. I'm really happy to say. But it's Strickland. You can see Strickland's neck really bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's real close-up of him and Marty in the
it was flaky.
Yeah, it was all like...
It was a little flaky.
Yeah.
Strickland, who of course also was in Top Gun.
Yes.
He always plays that guy.
And we were just together in London, and with Chris Lloyd and Michael Fox and him, and he and Chris Lloyd still look the same. I mean, they could still play the same parts.
Right.
They look exactly the same.
I was just saying, I saw Christopher Lloyd in A Million Ways to Die in the West, that cameo when he opens the barn door, and there's Christopher Lloyd in there covering up the DeLorean, which is a great little homage to the whole thing. Getting started with one, how did you get involved with that? I'm sure there was a pretty large group of girls that wanted to be that character.
Well, they were looking at Eric Stoltz on the...
As your character.
Yes. We had just done a movie for Universal called The Wildlife, and I played his girlfriend, so they were looking at him on these ancient machines where they ran film through him. And they said, "Who's that girl?" And so I got an audition, because it was the biggest movie up at the time, and the greatest part. And for some reason I just really clicked with the part, and I remember doing the screen test with Eric Stoltz and C. Thomas Howell, who I'd done Red Dawn with, and so it was a really nervous time, and it just worked. And I remember my screen test, Steven Spielberg was working the camera, and it was just really nice.
How nerve-wracking is that?
But you know what? They made me feel so good. They were such nice people, and I just clicked with the character. You know, especially the older Lorraine. For some reason, at whatever 22, I just got that already. Make her roll again. I got that character, so the juxtaposition between the one with so much light and the one with so much dark, I somehow got. I don't know, I was just lucky. Sometimes that happens.
Did you ever hear from Eric Stoltz after that? Like, you get the part based on my audition tape that you're in, that they think you're...
Well, he did get the part, and then he was replaced after 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I did Some Kind of Wonderful with him, so there was... Oh, yeah!
I think he went on to do a few things too.
Yeah,
so
now he's a big director and he won't hire me. So.
Not to hire you. So you get the part. Now, was it awkward having to then transition over to Michael after you've done those scenes already?
Yeah, it was really odd because some of the scenes they kept shots in it. They didn't reshoot the whole scene. Like the entire skateboard chase where Biff ends up with the manure, that was all, they kept all the stuntmen from Eric Stoltz, which is why they tried to grease his hair, Michael Fox's hair back and make it kind of darker so it would match. And so some of the scenes, they used my close-up from him. It was really awkward and really weird because he was a friend of mine. But Michael Fox was obviously perfect for the part. His kind of acting meshed with everybody else's. We weren't doing really naturalistic acting.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Lloyd going, we've got to go back to the future.
No one really does that.
It's not real natural. It's not like Stanislavski, method. So, and then, Crispin Glover, who was like, what? He was like, we were doing crazy stuff, really big.
You want me to touch her?
Yeah,
that whole scene,
but it worked,
yeah.
It worked. So putting a real naturalistic kind of actor in the middle of that was too jarring. And so, I really appreciated watching Michael Fox this time because I hadn't seen it on a big screen for a long time. He does all these crazy, cute things, sliding over the car and kicking the whatever it is, the hoverboard or whatever, all the crazy cute things he does, opening doors and falling over and spit takes, he does all this great kind of Buster Keaton comedy. That's really hard to do.
And that wasn't what they were getting, I guess, from Eric, right?
No, but he's a great actor.
Yeah, well, of course.
Hate to bring up a sore subject, sorry guys. Kind of brought you down. Sorry, man.
And it is amazing how, even though it was this comedic and kind of cartoonish version of life, there was so much social commentary in it that we didn't really notice at the time. A lot of things that were going on at the time where, even Mayor.
Yeah.
That was always so. Mayor. That was such a, that'll never happen. And then we wind up getting an African-American president and just sort of a look into the future as we were going back, as they say.
Well, it's a genius screenplay. All great, programs like UCLA or the great screenwriting programs, they always use Back to the Future as part of their syllabus because it's the script as it finally was finished is a great script. It was completely intricate and interwoven, and I think that's, it always starts with the script. And I think also what's great about the movie is that there's a lot of really profound moments. Obviously, look at you guys. It touched people's hearts as well as making them laugh and think about, how fun, a time machine, it works on so many different levels, but there are these really beautiful moments where I think, it's really profound to think about the idea that every moment is a possibility to change your life.
Right, a fork in the road, a potential fork in the road.
You do the right thing, you stand, like George McFly is such a great character, and when he punches Biff, the audience goes crazy because they know that moment when you stand up for yourself or you have courage, could change the entire course of your life, you know? And we all have to kind of remember that every day, and it's a really great thing to teach your kids, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some awkward moments in the film. Just the fact that you are infatuated with your son.
What?
Now, well, you didn't know it. Of course, you didn't know it. But when you originally read the script, were you a little spooky or creeped out by this a little bit? Or?
No. No. We went on to have, you know, a love scene with a duck. I was like, oh.
Well, that's
very open-minded. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, it's almost like Shakespearean in the farcical nature of it, and but it was an intricate balance. I mean, all the studios passed on it, and Universal didn't want to do it, and Disney, of course, was like, no, can you take out that part with the mom? And they're like, no,
that's the movie.
That's integral. So yeah, it was definitely. And I'm proud of that because I had to sell these crazy moments, that whole moment where I kiss him and I say, I'm like in love with him, and then I kiss him and I all of a sudden realize something's wrong. And that was a hard moment, and they were very nervous about it.
Yeah, because that was...
I had to sell that thing.
Yeah. But that was truly a turning point also, because it took the infatuation that you had for Marty out of the way. Now you were free to...
Yeah, and then like 1 minute later, I'm like being molested, and then another minute later, I'm falling in love with George.
Well, there's another scene that was a little like, all right, hey, here's a happy little molestation scene in the car. It's like, is this a comedy? Is this a...
It was the 50s.
It was the 50s. That's how people...
Crazy
that's how they
things
acted.
Yeah.
It was so... it was terrifying if put in a different context. That was an assault going on in the car. And then why later do you have him hanging out waxing the vehicle? I never quite understood. Tell your mom I said It's like, oh, the one that you were molesting in the car? These are things that everyone thinks over the years watching Back to the Future.
I know. Well, there were certain problems, but we had to gloss over.
No, I don't see it as a problem at all. I think it all worked perfectly, all the way down to the Ooh La La magazine. And which one your favorite? First to...
I think the first, but
yeah.
I really enjoyed the craziness of the second one, and I love that character, the one where you were the one who wanted me to get these things.
Yes, the prosthetic.
Yeah, but I love that character. She was so crazy.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I want to play her now. If anyone wants to give me that part, I want to
do that a little
no makeup. I can
offshoot. That must have been an awkward makeup session.
I know, because people would walk into the, because I was covered like in prosthetic plastic actually from here to here. So they'd walk into the makeup room and be like, and I'd be like just sitting there topless. It was weird.
And of course...
Dear Diary.
Now the gentleman, oh, what's his name? God, that played Biff.
Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson, thank
Awesome,
you.
Tom Wilson.
He's a stand-up comic. And really doesn't want anything to do with Back to the Future, especially 30-year anniversary. There's various documentaries and things coming out where everybody was involved except him. Do you have any insight on why he's so against it?
I think it might be because he just that character is so intense. Like fans come at him with so much. I don't know, like they want to punch him or something.
No love for Biff.
So I really can't speak for him. I really wish he would be here because I think he's a genius, and he was a genius in the movie. But I think he just kind of thought that it really pigeonholed him. But instead of like embracing that,
right.
that I mean, I feel so lucky to be known for a movie that was so great, you know. So I don't know. I wish he would too.
Yeah, some people as an actor, they feel if they're pigeonholed, that's it. They'll never get out of it, and kind of recoil on it, but I thought he was great in 1, 2, and 3. Mad Dog Tannen was hilarious to me. The scene where he just doesn't have any clue after he shoots, he's like, thank you. Like people are happy that he just killed Marty in the street.
It was an epic bad guy. He really was.
Yeah, just a very good bad guy in all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, and we got to see 3. We got to see the first one, just the young, dumb Biff. And then, of course, you all remember the story of how Biff Tannen with the Big Biff Hotel, and that's when you were his wife with the. How do you play the same person?
They really weren't that big. It's just that I started with nothing.
With those things, how do you play the same character but have to do? It's a completely different person.
It's
the Lorraine
awesome.
of the middle.
It's just the greatest part ever, and I just really loved playing all those different kind of permutations of the same person, because it's a really interesting thing to think about how much you've changed. Like if you bumped into yourself when you were 20 or whatever 20 years ago, how much you've changed. I mean, I really think it's interesting, and I felt really blessed to be able to try all that craziness, and then like be like in the third movie where he goes, you're my, who are you? I love that.
It was
The
getting very
Irish one,
confusing
when
at
I was
that point.
Irish.
Yes, the Irish, which happened to, I don't know why the husband and wives of the McFly families always seem to look the same.
Well,
And they meet each other. And
well, my friend, because they had a contract with us, so they had to put us in the movie.
do you understand that part of it? It's
No.
those,
No, I know there's a lot of questions to be
Yeah.
asked, but there's a lot of people here that maybe want to ask.
but it's just entertainment purpose. Yes, if you have questions, we are going to have you use the microphone now. So in some orderly fashion, if you want to line up at the microphone to ask questions, please do so.
Yeah, so what is your favorite line in Howard the Duck?
My favorite line in Howard the Duck?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't even remember. I don't think I've seen it in 20 years. What's your favorite line? Anybody have one? I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But you know what? One thing I love about Howard the Duck was like, and it's so big in England because it's just like pun after pun after pun after pun. And you know, Americans aren't quite into puns as much as the Brits are.
Now talk about a
Sorry, I
script.
can't remember anything.
Talk about a script that you would get and go, what? Wait, I'm in love with a duck.
It was George Lucas, all right? Who says no to George Lucas?
Lucas and
Not me.
Spielberg, oh, those kids.
And I got to be a rock star. I mean, come on.
It's true. Yes, sir.
What was it like working with Steven Spielberg?
Like I said, Steven Spielberg is like the nicest guy. Like he didn't work like on the set very much, but he's so kind and supportive and funny and inclusive. You know, he creates an atmosphere of, you know, of just like, we're all in this together, how do we make it funny? How do we make it better? And that's just like the greatest boss ever. I think apparently Bob Zemeckis, who wrote it and directed it, I think he still owns the rights, or he just says over my dead body. So it's gonna have to happen after he's dead. But maybe he shouldn't have said that. Maybe such a crazy fan. But yeah, I don't think so. They're gonna release it again in the theaters in the fall. Yeah. Other thing where they play the orchestra, and they're also trying to develop a musical for Broadway.
It's so interesting that some movies can just date themselves within 5 years, and others are so. That movie you can still watch it, and it's completely relatable. And
well, I think also there's this. At the time, there was nostalgia for the '50s. Now there's nostalgia for the '80s and the '50s. So you're getting like more bang for the buck.
So in 30 years, there'll be nostalgia for the
2015.
And they're releasing
Sorry.
a new book now with IDW. I run a comic book store in Panama City. They're releasing a Back to the Future series with a prequel story that you finally get to understand how Marty McFly met Doc Brown.
Oh,
and
really?
How, yeah, it's really good. It comes out next month. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, there's a new book that you I know. I've always wondered what.
Comics. They go
It's
straight to
kind
the
of creepy
comics.
that old guy and the young guy maybe get together. I want to know why they liked each other so much.
Exactly, and they finally get into it. But my question is, I was at the 25th anniversary and I loved you guys. Talked to Chris Lloyd up at DragonCon. But my question is now, since the resurgence of Howard the Duck and Guardians of the Galaxy and everything else,
Yes.
and he was captured by the Collector, and I love Beverly. Your character in Beverly was awesome. There's also the new Howard the Duck book by Chip Zdarsky, and in the first couple of panels, somebody asked Howard about Beverly, and you just see this solemn look on his face. My question is, has Marvel contacted you at all? Because if you got kidnapped by the Collector with Howard the Duck, you would be in space somewhere playing rock music, and I would love to see that. One more thing, real quick, one more thing.
That's so sweet.
That movie came out when I was 12 years old. This is the movie poster from my movie house, and I wasn't able to come to your autograph because I've been working this site for 2 days straight, and I am sorry. But I would love it if you could sign it for me. I got the money too, don't worry about that. But I'm just saying, I'll put it on the side right there and humble it because in 3 weeks I turned 40 years old and I love you to death. And Some Kind of Wonderful is my second favorite movie. John Hughes all the way, baby. So I would, if you could. Thank you. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, go over there.
Hi.
Hi, sweetie.
My favorite movie of all time is Back to the Future, the series, the whole series. And I was just curious what your favorite part was of playing the characters you played, the character you played.
I think my favorite part is that it was really an acting piece. Like, it wasn't just like the cute girl next door. I mean, every single one of the characters. He's gonna make me do this right now.
I thought he was going to leave the poster on the side to sign after this.
Oh my god, this is hilarious.
You gotta give him A for balls.
Yeah. You guys, I can't tell you how happy this makes me because people are always giving me such grief about being in Howard the Duck. And so I appreciate the oh my god, right now.
Can you believe this?
Multitasking, isn't it? I'm just gonna
What?
sign this.
What? Wow, that is an assertive gentleman.
I did it.
Can no one else do that?
Yeah. I'm going to be signing later. I'll be down there.
Yes.
My line's been very light, so please come.
Heavy upper line.
Yeah. But my favorite part, I think, was just that it was a really great character, and I got to really show my acting chops, and to be known mostly for that part, it's nice to know that people think of me as an actress or show.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to you for being in Back to the Future because you have been my idol since I first saw it.
Man, people really do. You know what? People like you. It's not like you played a part where it's like, imagine some of these actors that just have to go through their lives being known for an awful character.
Well, that's the whole Biff problem.
Then maybe that's the Biff thing. Maybe you'd be handing out those business cards he hands out that has an answer. He actually has a card he hands out with every answer to every question he's been asked all the time about Biff. So it's like, hey, what was it like? Bam, and he has
No, he has a song. He has a song. Was the manure real? No, it wasn't. What's Michael J. Fox like? He's really nice.
That's exactly what the song is. It's hilarious. Yes, Biff.
I also grew up with Back to the Future because of my mom. She made me watch it ever since I was little. But I love it. And I was wondering, because you were talking about all the different characters, how do you keep track of them? That was my question.
Well, the costumes helped. And when I knew that I had a ton of plastic on my face, I wasn't young anymore. But yeah, I think it's just like, you know, it also was really slow. Like, each one of those movies took 6 months to shoot, which is really brutal, you know? It's like, you know, some of the scenes took forever to shoot. And so, you know, what's hard is actually keeping the energy up, you know, because it gets really long. And so, like, for Lorraine, the young Lorraine, the only way I could stay in character or remember to stay in character is right before they were getting ready to roll, I'd sing Mr. Sandman. They'd see me in the corner going, bum, 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 bum. And all of a sudden I'd turn into this weird girl. So they put the music in the movie because of that.
Wow, they did. It fits so well in that part, too.
Thank you. You're awesome.
You look beautiful.
As a big Switched at Birth fan, I was wondering how long it took you to learn to sign. And I was wondering if there's any like spoilers we should know about.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for asking about Switched at Birth. My show, Switched at Birth, is on ABC Family. It's premiering, the season 4B premieres on August 24th.
All around the TV watching.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. And it's there's a deaf one of my daughters is deaf on the show, so we do a lot of signing on it, and the deaf culture's embraced us because we really deal with that, and it's nice because it's given a voice to an underrepresented community, and so yeah, it's really interesting because we have to do our lines and sign all the time. And it's called Simcom, and it's actually really hard to do. It's kind of like this, you know what I mean? Because the signs are usually different than the words we're saying. But it's thank you for asking. And yeah, there's like a pregnancy, and yeah, there's we kind of run out of money. Always makes a problem in a marriage, so those are the big things. Thank you.
Cool, thanks.
Oh my God, it's my turn.
Love those ears.
Oh, thank you. It's a little adventure time. I remember Back to the Future since I was a kid. I'm 17 now, but you inspired me every day to act, so thank you.
Thank you.
I recently saw you in a movie last year in Ping Pong Summer.
Oh yeah.
Funny movie, I love it.
Thank you.
But you played a mother that was in the 80s. What was it like playing, even though it's 2014 then, even though back then you actually played a mother in the actual 80s?
It's too crazy. I feel like I just smoked pot. It was really weird to go back in the 80s. I mean, I've been playing a mother in the 80s for 30.
You could say it's like a Back to the Future kind of thing.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it's like the Twilight Zone. It was really weird to do because they tried to make this movie like a found movie in the 80s. Like you just pull it, like no one saw it, and they pulled it off the rack. And it was really weird wearing the clothes and seeing all the cars and everything. It was fun.